Hey, what's happening? Happy Saturday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. As I sit here, I wonder sometimes why I'm drawn to not necessarily controversial topics, but when you have a monetized YouTube channel, you have advertisers. There's a line that people are willing to put their advertisements on, and there's a more questionable line of things you could talk about. And I don't know why I'm always drawn to these subjects, but I am. I had another video all set to go this morning. I've been talking about this video for a long time. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give you any clues to it, but it's still on hold. I came across an article this morning that I just have to talk about. It's from a conservative radio and talk show host called Dennis Prager, a 74-year-old man. I'm not familiar with this guy until I actually saw this article. So I looked up some of the info on him. And this is the point of my video here. He comes out with something that I just find a comment about the LGBTQ community that I just find to be, it has to be dishonest. I can't believe that anybody could have such a shallow misunderstanding of that community. And something, this is, I'll have the clip right down below. It's from 2016. And he says something, it's his opinion about that community. And I'll get into that in a second. But I want to tell you guys first about, I have an uncle. It's my father's brother, the youngest of three brothers. And I always felt, probably because he's the closest to my age, I felt close to him. Back in the 70s, he served in Vietnam. When he came back, I was young. I was probably 5 or 6 years old. And he gave me his boots, which wouldn't fit me for his army boots for 10 or 15 years. And I love these boots, even though I couldn't wear them. I don't know what it was about these army boots, but I loved them. And he gave me the script that they give to the army instead of the greenbacks. And I was always close with him, and I actually had a crush. I remember when he first started dating what would soon become my aunt. It was a young 6 or 7 year old boy's crush. I remember looking at her picture before they were going to get married, and I thought she was so pretty and all this other stuff. I had a crush on her. So anyway, they got married. They had two cousins of mine, and eventually he came out as being gay. He got divorced from my aunt. They stayed good friends. And he got remarried to his current life partner now, Brian, and they've been married for 25 years. We went to their wedding, and this is what I wanted to say. Even though I'm a straight guy, and I admire him, and he also overcame. He's in recovery too himself, so I always felt a connection to him, and I admire him. When I saw him, when he had this wedding, and he came out, and his whole family was at this wedding, and he got married to his life partner there. I thought it took incredible courage, even though I can only go so far into to putting myself in his place, because when I picture love with a woman. But that's, I still have an incredible amount of admiration for the courage to be who he was, and respect for his union and the person he loves. The strong bond of love that's lasted for going on 3 decades now. That's a testament. Okay. So let me fast forward to looking at. Let me say this too. This is my understanding of transgender. I'm a basic educated guy, but my understanding of transgender people is that right from birth, that mentally, physiologically, I think that's the right word, emotionally, they identify with if they, having a man's body, but having the emotional state, the emotional feelings, the feeling like a woman, mentally ever since they can remember. That's what I hear. That's what I understand to be the situation of transgender people. And they know this through their whole life. It's not a choice they make, like buying a car or painting, the color of their house they're going to paint it. This will come into play in a second when I talk about Dennis Prager. It's something they've known right from the very beginning. Now, I don't know if this is going to go over good, but I wonder about the pollutants and stuff we put in the air. Like, you look, it seems like something might have gone wrong. Like there might have been something with, all the chromosomes or genes, and this person developed in the wrong body. This is my understanding of it. I see commercials on TV about children's hospitals and the children there that are born with certain difficulties dealing with their bodies, their arms, their legs, their height, and different things like that. And there's a different cause of reasons why those situations occur with their bodies at birth. And I kind of, this is my understanding that maybe it's something like that with all the microplastics and pollutants in the air, that possibly there could be something from birth where the body doesn't match the mental, what the soul of this person was supposed to be. This is just my understanding of it. But I do believe this 100%, that transgender people right from birth seem to identify with the sex that they're going to transgender into right from birth. It's not like a choice, like I said, like painting your house or buying a car. Okay, so fast forward to Dennis Prager. He makes this argument, like I said, the link will be right down below. And he says, he doesn't believe in it and he doesn't understand it. And here's his main reason for it: that men are mentally, I could use the word physiologically, different from women. And then he brings up the example of how men rank on each other, how they insult each other. And he says he doesn't. Women don't do this. This is his very shallow differentiation from men and women, that men rank and insult each other and women don't. So therefore, nobody could ever successfully transgender. Like they say, the force is strong with this one. The stupidity is strong with this one. The ignorance. This man's 74 years old, and you really, and he's a journalist and a radio talk show host. I really would think that he'd have a better understanding. I don't know if he's just being disingenuous here. That's what I tend to believe, that he knows the real situation. This isn't, like I said, this isn't just like picking the color of a car or a house or deciding what album to buy or what clothes you're going to wear for summer that year. The man's 74 years old. He seems educated. It seems he'd have a better grasp of this. So he says that, because men rank on each other. Now, I take exception to this too. So I think I'm 56 years old. I'm going to be 57 soon. And I think about my relationships. Like I told you guys just recently, a new person moved in here. And I see him in the workout room, the exercise room. And I get along good with him. We introduce each other, we click. Then I found out he's a policeman. I had a police car pull up next to me. He's, "Hey, Daryl." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're a cop." I didn't know he's a cop. And we get along good. And I think of my mature relationships now, and I don't rank on him. I don't say, "Hey, you big dummy." Or, I used to do that when I was 8 or 19 years old. And I think that's more of a juvenile, not juvenile, but an adolescent thing, where you're still working out the hierarchy of where you fit in: alpha, beta, sigma, omega, and all the other ones. The more I think about it, in these years now, as I get older, I'm brutally honest. That's one thing I believe, that my male best friends, that I would be brutally honest. If they ask me a question, I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm going to tell them stuff that they're not going to want to hear. If they're being an idiot, I'm going to tell them they're being an idiot. That's what best friends do. But do I rank on them? Do I just there's joking around, but it's the same. It's not confined to just men or women or whatever. It's not just like some trait that's born into all men that they rank on each other through their whole lives. As like I said, I take exception to that. It seems like a very juvenile view of the male psyche, that they need to constantly insult each other throughout you see the MMA guys do that and stuff, but I think a lot of that's show. I think that has to do, that's competition. I think just, when you have a basic, and they're not friends. When you have a basic friendship with somebody, it's about honesty. When you get older, when you're younger, it's more of a working out your place in the hierarchy, I think, and that's important when you're when you're a young guy. You have to figure out. It's just a natural thing. You figure out where you fit in the whole thing. Your personality, your character. It's something you're born with. But I think that as you get older, you don't feel the need to do that anymore. So anyway, you guys could watch the clip. So this is Dennis Prager's main reason as to why he doesn't even believe in transgenderism, because men rank on each other and insult. This is the word he used. Insult each other, and women don't. So therefore, a woman could never transgender into a man. Again, these are not my attitudes or beliefs. These are the beliefs that I'm disputing with Dennis Prager just for the YouTube algorithms. You guys have a great Saturday.